Good morning, St. Paul. This is your Un-Bougie foodie, Wesley Wright. Once again joining you, and you're joining me on a wonderful, glorious Saturday morning. I want to thank you all, as always, for joining me. I have a special guest and host. As you know, for the past few weeks, I've had some really great hosts, but this one, he's a special friend.
Come on now. Come on now.
His name is Brad Bettger. Brad, say hello if you would.
What's going on, St. Paul? How's it going?
Thanks so much for being here. I think what I need to do is, I joked about this on Facebook a little bit, being the captain of charcuterie and baron of beef.
Right.
I'm like, it's true though. I'm like, dude, okay, you're the only other person that I know that could have this amazing spread of food. I mean, I know I have other friends that do some serious cooking as well, but when are you going to open up some type of restaurant? I mean, aside from he has a secular job, and we're going to talk about finding out all about him and everything in a minute, but right now at this point, please tell us a little bit more about yourself. And I know I've given you such an introduction.
I know. I don't know how to follow that introduction up. That's quite the intro.
Yeah.
Look, man, I don't know how to explain myself with that spread of food, but if you love food as much as I do, you feel like you have to share it with the world, and I guess that's where I come from.
Well, thanks so much for doing that.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in food? That's like a very open-ended question. I think I've asked all my guests about that, but you seem to have even a more extensive enjoyment of preparing food and so forth.
Sure.
So where did that come from?
Well, so I grew up with an Italian grandmother and my mother being half Italian.
Okay.
So I grew up around some really, really good home cooks with some really, really solid, old world recipes. And any food that's worth eating is prepared well, and in order to prepare food well, you have to have good technique, right?
Right.
So whether or not they were trained or not, my grandmother and my mother, they had great technique when preparing food, and of course, I got to see that as they cooked in the kitchen, and we would have family meals twice a week, 3 times a week. I lived right across the street from the grandparents, so pretty much every day there was something going on. Playing outside as a kid, go across the street, get lunch from grandma.
Exactly.
She'd whip something together, meatball sandwiches or whatever. So I grew up watching some really good cooks and just learning a lot about how to put a meal together,
right, rather
than being so focused on one recipe for one dish. How are you going to prepare a meal for everyone to eat?
Understood.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got my start. And then being that I love food so much, I know this is radio, you can't see me, but you can tell that I like to eat, right?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Anyways, but if when you like to eat as much as I do, you like good food, and for me, preparing a meal is sort of a Zen type thing. It allows me to shut my mind off and focus on a task, and then almost have instant gratification for the fruits of my labor.
Exactly. See, he puts it so poetically and everything. And I appreciate you saying that. And there have probably been 2 or 3 other individuals that have been on here, and they said the same exact thing. So I know that for myself, I feel that, and I understand where you're coming from. And so, as you put it, being at peace or getting that gratification right then and there, it's like, for me, it's mind calming. Cutting up vegetables, trimming chicken or whatever the case is. Yep. And I find myself, do you have like a habit or something that you find yourself doing while you're in the kitchen? I know I hum and I start to sing and everything, but that comes from my parents.
Right. I definitely do. If I'm preparing dinner for myself, I typically just like it quiet, and I kind of just like to zone out and focus on what I'm doing.
Okay.
If I'm putting together, like hosting a party or putting together something where I have a bunch of people coming over, I put the tunes on, I turn it up as loud as it goes. I'm dancing around the kitchen, and I'm moving and shaking while I'm chopping vegetables up. I just have to get into that mode and get everything done.
Understood. Hey, I'm not knocking you for it.
Yep.
All of us have our different things we do.
And you know what? If you want to eat my food, you can't complain about my dance moves. So that's my defense.
Yeah, that and is most likely what you have to be prepared to
Sure.
hear when you come into his home.
Sure. It's true.
That's fine. That's fine. All of us are appreciative of that, so don't worry about that. We recently had, or you recently invited us to your wife's birthday, celebrating your wife's birthday.
Yep.
You had, I'm just going to say, a charcuterie table of things prepared, and there were 2 spreads. Can you describe, I think it was the one with, was it olives?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had some appetizer kind of type things, and then I had an actual charcuterie board.
Yep.
And side note about charcuterie that I just want to preface. This is the asterisk to this statement. Charcuterie is something that you can turn into the ultimate expression of just elitism and, high society and sort of this overdone type of elitist
This
thing.
is not this type of show.
I can't do it, and none of
Nope.
my cooking is like that. But charcuterie can also be something that really does accomplish that goal of just sort of a rustic finger food type sampling of some complementary flavors that, multi-regional flavors. So anyways, I'll talk about that in a second.
Please.
First off, those appetizers.
Yes.
I've been making, it's olive tapenade that you're referencing, and I use Kalamata olives, a Greek olive for it.
Those are delicious.
Super good. And it cracks me up because I've been making that tapenade for, I don't know, a long time, pretty much as long as I've been entertaining people. And it is quite literally 5 ingredients. It's the easiest thing to do. All you need is a food processor and a knife. That's it. And every time I make it, everyone always tells me, oh, this is so good. It's the best thing. And I just laugh because it's so easy. And it's literally just olives, capers, garlic, parsley, and lemon juice. That's it.
Awesome.
Salt, pepper to taste, obviously, but that's it. Put it in the blender, toast up some bread, you're good to go.
See.
And it's always gone within 15 minutes.
Yes.
Putting it out.
Yes. He's
Always.
not lying about that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned something a moment ago, and I'm going to be talking about it later on in another segment of the show, about old world, I guess, old
Like
world
flavors?
Yeah, flavors and so forth. What do you mean by that? Because I'm going to give just kind of like a very generalized explanation, but you mentioned that your family is more Italian and so forth. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my mind, an old world type of recipe is something that doesn't have any pretense, doesn't try to be something it's not, doesn't cross into that realm of being sort of, this hermetically sealed, perfectly clean plate of artwork. Rather, the artwork and the expression comes in the flavor and sort of the feeling that you get from that meal. So an old world recipe would be something that uses, fatty meats as rustic. We're talking stews, baked dishes, something that you would find on the dinner table for someone at 5 o'clock in a normal house somewhere in some neighborhood.
Okay.
Not this gastropub type food chemistry type of dish, something that soothes your soul and just makes you feel good.
That's good.
That's what I call it.
You sound like, I mean, I'm gonna say this in the best way because you know what I mean. You sound like a chef, a person that is just like has a restaurant and is just
I can't do it.
saying stuff.
I am an amateur at best.
But yeah,
I'm an amateur at best, but I pay attention. I think.
Yes, and that's the important thing because I keep going back to being invited to some of your functions and so forth, and the types of foods and how it's being prepared. For me, I even talk about, even though this show is about being unpretentious and not having any type of conceited way about food and everything, I've always been a person about presentation.
Sure.
I used to work in, being a chocolatier in Caesar's Palace. So it was like presentation for me it needed to be everything.
Absolutely.
So when I go to someone's home like yours or to any other friends and I notice the way that the food is prepared a certain type of way, it makes me appreciate not only the person that cooked it, but most importantly too, the food. So, do you have a certain way each time that you are providing a meal? Do you have certain ways that you actually do that presentation?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it has to do with the dish you put something in. The color of that dish definitely makes a big difference. If you have, a food that is red, and you put it in a red bowl, you're not doing a whole lot for that food. Put it in a green bowl, Now we're talking.
Color. Exactly.
Right? When you talking about that charcuterie board, if you just put it on a plate, it looks like cold cuts on a plate.
Yes.
You put it on a thick butcher block cutting board, now it's charcuterie, right? Not cold cuts on a plate.
Exactly.
So a lot of it has to do with that. I'd love to say that I pay a lot of attention to detail when it comes to presenting the food or plating it.
Okay.
But in reality, I do it like my mom did. And I've just put the food out in such a way where it makes sense.
Okay.
And I think that makes the difference. Again, I don't want guests to feel like they're at a restaurant. They can go to a restaurant and get that experience. When they come over, I want to feel like they're at Brad's house,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
And that's the thing. So, I mean, there's little things you can do to sort of spruce it up, but I think you got to just go with the flow and just let your personality do it. Set things up how you want to have them set up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. What's a favorite meal for you to prepare?
Yeah.
We were talking about this ahead of time, folks, so don't worry. You know how I am about food, so we can talk about food for quite a while.
Yep.
So please, whatever, like I said, whatever you go into is fine.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, there's, I definitely sort of blow with the wind when it comes to my food preferences.
Okay.
It's sort of the flavor of the month or flavor of every other month for me. I have a few key recipes that I just love to make, and I typically just make them all the time. The first recipe that I just make, no matter the season, is my mom's linguine and clam sauce recipe.
Oh, see,
wow. Yeah, and people hear clam sauce and they're like,
no. For me,
what's not to like? You got that flavorful clam, you've got the heavy cream in the sauce.
Exactly.
Come on. So, I mean, that's number one. And, of course, I love making those, some of the flavors that I had at home growing up in Los Angeles, getting some of those Cali Mex street taco type flavors. I try to replicate that at home. I'm not always successful, but I've got a few like tinga de pollo or carne asada that I can definitely throw down with. That's for sure. And, I mean, who doesn't like, grilled meat that's marinated in spices and fresh pico? I mean, how do you beat that?
Exactly.
That's just perfect.
But you said something just now. I did not know that you were in Los Angeles. How long were you in Los Angeles for?
I was born and raised there.
What?
I was born and raised in the Valley. I grew up 40 miles east of Los Angeles in Rancho.
Both from Los Angeles.
I feel like we knew that about each other.
No,
really?
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah, I grew up in a place called Rancho Cucamonga.
Oh God. Wow.
Yeah, I grew up out there, man.
And and that's the reason I'm sitting here, or when I first met you and I came over to your house and having food and everything, I was like, he's cooking like he's from Mexico. I'm like, where's it? I'm sorry, I'm gonna just say this. He's a white boy.
Oh boy.
And he's cooking like he's cooking like he's been in Mexico or something like that. I'm like, where exactly are you? And maybe I never asked that question, so I'm sorry if I seemed overly surprised.
You came over for that barbecue in the summer when I had carne asada.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like, and all that. Yeah.
Okay, well, dang. See, that explains quite a bit.
Yep.
Quite a bit.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep. Recipes.
Yes, please.
So
I wanted to kind of slowly transition into that and get an idea of what type of, maybe like 2 or 3 recipes or something like that you are interested in.
I'll definitely share. Well, let's talk about that linguine and clam sauce, I think, because that's something that is just so incredibly simple.
Yeah.
And you can throw that together. For 2 people for under $10 from the store. It's something that's just really cheap. It's linguine pasta. It's a little bit of heavy cream for the sauce, a little bit of clam juice, which you can get in a bottle at the store, and a can of either diced or chopped or minced clams, however you find it. You can always add more in there. I mean, I've made it with, chopped oysters. I've made it with shrimp before. I've done sort of like a hybrid frutti di mare where I've got mussels and clams in there as well. You can, make it your own, but in reality, you just boil some pasta, you start a saucepan, throw in the clam sauce, the heavy cream, Parmesan cheese, salt, pepper, let it simmer, thicken up, add the clams in, pour it over the pasta, eat. 15 minutes and you're good to go.
He's making this sound so easy and simple.
It is, though. And that's me. That's my personality, though, is I'm definitely a minimum effort, maximum reward type person.
No, I get you.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's what I love about pasta dishes is that once you get that sort of that baseline sauce down, whether it's sort of a cream sauce or just like a tomato sauce.
Creation wise, your sky's the limit.
The
almost.
World opens up for you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I know you got more.
I do. Let's talk about that tinga de pollo. That's
Yeah,
another. That's another
the
one that I
one.
love.
That is the
Um,
one.
And that's all about flavor too. Like that's just a flavor profile that you're shooting for, right? It's that the chicken is sort of almost secondary. In my
Exactly.
opinion.
Whereas the flavor
Right.
and the spices and so forth and everything are
Right.
one that is like,
Right.
here's the dish, you
Yep.
know, more than anything.
Yep, a little bit of cumin. It's the adobo, and
Okay.
the chipotle peppers that makes that dish. That's
I
that
love-
main flavor.
Yeah.
I could drink adobo sauce out of
That's-
a glass. I
that
really could.
smoky. I mean,
Yep.
whether it's, you know, if you're using the chipotle adobo sauce or
Mhm.
if you're just using the chipotle spice itself, I like
Yep.
to put that in my chili. At
Yep.
one point I used to, you know, with my roommate,
Mhm.
do mole. Have
Yep.
you done mole before?
I've never made mole.
dang.
I'm kind of scared of mole. I'm not
I
gonna
am
lie.
too. I really, but you know, the process it's a lot. It's very extensive.
Sure.
I mean, and the different ingredients and so forth that are with it. But I'm sorry,
That's
we
all right.
steered away from your. What,
It's
please
a tangent
continue.
Saturday. It happens. And I'll go on my own tangent here because I was talking before about that sort of that rustic type old world food.
Mhm.
Slow cooked food that cooks on low heat for a long time it just makes that flavor. It just makes that feel of that dish that is different than something that's fried off in a pan real quickly and plated with some vegetables stacked on top.
Right.
You know, that tinga de pollo sits in a crock pot or simmers on the stove for 6 hours, 8
Wow.
hours. Every single flavor you put in there is going to marry and meld together and just infuse everything in that pot. And so if I were to give any advice for cooking those types of recipes, cook them slow
Okay.
and don't rush it because that's that key. That's
You
that
want
key.
that to get in all portions of the meat.
Correct.
You know, and
Correct.
yeah, I totally understand
Yep.
what you're saying on that.
Yep, for sure. So with the tinga, it's really just it's adobo, chipotle peppers and adobo, and you can buy the canned chipotle peppers and adobo sauce, which tastes great. And there's no shame in using stuff from a can. I'm unapologetic when it comes to using canned
Hey,
vegetables.
I'm
so,
there too.
Yeah. If you want to buy whole chipotle peppers that aren't smoked, you can roast them in your oven on high heat for maybe 5-10 minutes till they get kind of crispy black or crispy brown.
Earthy,
that
and
flavor.
just man, when it's real, like real, when it's like organic, like
Yep.
that, doing it is just
Yep.
it's perfect. For me, it heightens any type of
Yep.
meal or
Absolutely.
flavor.
Yep. And then for me, I like to use what I call the Mexican mirepoix or the Holy Trinity as it is, which is cilantro, red onion, and tomatoes.
Yep.
That flavor into the pot is just gonna. I mean, any type of dish if you're going for that sort of that Tex-Mex, that Cali-Mex, that Southwest flavor, or even that Northern Mexico flavor.
Right.
That's what you want to use is that Mexican Holy Trinity: cilantro, red onion, and tomato. And that's it. And then you put chicken in there and let it slow cook, shred it, put it back in, serve. Done. It's that simple.
Once again, the simple recipes of Brad Becker.
Right, exactly. I know. And it's funny because sometimes I try to write the recipes down, and then when I try and actually, say, okay, if I were to give this to someone to make it for me and I wanted it to taste right, now I've got like a 6-page recipe because of all these things.
Why?
You got to cook and you got to get a feel for it. That's really
Yes.
it. You have to get a feel for it, and you can't be afraid.
No,
what you're
that's
doing.
true.
You can't be afraid.
And I think finding out too when cooking, and you do have for myself, I will have a recipe and I will use it. But I like to throw in something else. I like to, I just use that as a foundation or as a baseline.
Absolutely.
And then go from there.
Absolutely.
I know that, okay, this doesn't, I want to add mushrooms, or nope, I want to add this type of spice in it or something like that. And for me, I try to make it my own. I still give credit to the person, the recipe and everything like that. But I'm like, I'm going to add this additional spice up in there. Maybe I'll add some heat to it or whatnot.
Absolutely.
That's what I like to do. It sounds like when you have a recipe that you kind of do the same thing.
I am my own worst critic, which is a blessing and a curse because when I cook something for myself, I love to experiment, but if it tastes bad, I'm never going to make it again.
Exactly.
Right? So I don't necessarily experiment with my guests. Sometimes I take risks, and I'll never tell. But for the most part, I learned how to do this because I made it for myself, made it in a way that tasted awful, and didn't do it again.
Oh, okay.
Right? And it just got better. Although I don't think I've ever messed up the tinga de pollo, but I'll I'll toot my own horn.
Yeah,
on that
exactly.
one. But the carne asada is a great example.
Okay.
When I was learning how to get the marinade right,
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a kid or as a teenager being able to go down to the local carniceria and get a plastic bag,
Yep.
full of thinly sliced cecina or something like that, or arrachera, and marinated in some kind of marinade, and they've got the whole green onions in there and sometimes a couple just sliced jalapenos in there and cilantro, and it would just sit in a bag, and then you would take it out of the bag and grill it off, and it would just be this perfect flavor. Replicating that is hard.
I was going to ask, have you tried to do that yourself?
I have, and I've gotten it close, but I think that's sort of the joy of doing this stuff. Cooking this kind of food that you maybe can't find anywhere,
right,
is that it'll taste good and you'll enjoy it, but it'll never reach that point of how you remember it.
Exactly.
So you have something to keep chasing after, but then when you do go home, it's all that much sweeter.
Yeah.
It's all that much sweeter. There's a place called Alberto's back home. You know Alberto's?
Of course I do.
Of course you know
Of course I do.
They're carne asada burritos, man. I cannot get enough of them. I will eat myself sick on those burritos, but I that's what I shoot for. And it's just a tortilla with carne asada in it, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of pico, and a little bit of guac.
Yeah, they always did it very simply, and people flocked to this place.
Always busy, 24 hours a day. There were some nights in college.
That's what I was about to say as well. I'm telling you, you could go there any time of the day, and there will be some type of line.
Yep.
Some type of line.
Yep.
Gosh, dude, I swear, I
did
not know.
Oh,
I did
man, we
not
got
know.
That connection. We can talk about LA food all day.
We can.
Yep.
Yeah, see, that we might not do that on this show right now.
No, I hear you.
Because,
yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so I skipped over a topic because I wanted to kind of leave it to the last. Super Bowl menu.
Oh boy.
Well,
my team's not in it this year, so why should I entertain?
Really? Come on now.
I know, I'm just teasing.
Really?
My team won it last year. Go Broncos. My team won it last year, so I'm okay with that. But
I know there's no way that Super Bowl is going to come and you will not have some type of something menu.
You do know me.
Yes.
I've already started to put it together in my head. I've been a little bit lazy. But
see, I'm not now. When I ask a question, it's not so much that I'm trying to find out what is on the menu. I'm just trying to say, hey, I know you got something going on.
Yep.
Can you confirm that?
I can. I will be making food for the Super Bowl, whether that's at my house or somewhere else.
Okay.
To be determined. If you're interested in coming, you'll always have an invite. I mean, you always got to have the Un-Bougie foodie at your events.
Lord.
Come on now. No, I'll be making some of the stuff I usually make every year that I really like for football season. Like a chili cheese dip.
Okay.
That I used to have as a kid from a restaurant where I grew up. Really super good. Again, really easy. I love to try and do a little something on the Super Bowl that I don't necessarily get to eat all year round.
Okay.
Like crab legs or something like that. It's sort of a celebratory type food. Although they're expensive this year, the price never really came down.
Where are you going to get your
I usually go to Coastal Seafoods.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, that's like number one in the city. I think.
Buy local, everyone. Buy local.
Buy local. Yes, exactly.
So I'll do that, and I'll have some kind of seafood, and then I think this year I'm going to make my my rustic tomato soup.
Okay.
I have some tomatoes frozen left over from my garden this year.
I was going to just about to ask you about that, so I'll ask you in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I got some tomatoes I want to use for that soup, and I usually do I'll get a baguette and I'll put some prosciutto or some Parmesan in there, or I'll put some bacon and some Gruyere and a slice of tomato to kind of get that gourmet grilled cheese type flavor to dunk in the soup, something like that. Really fun. And I mean, I love tomato soup, and I love sandwiches, and I love dipping my sandwiches in soup. Who doesn't? So I'll do something like that. Finger foods type of stuff.
Told you he got a plan. He always got a plan.
I always have a plan.
Exactly. Yep. Man, I'm telling you, I know that I have not had the opportunity to post things. I'm very particular when I go over to a friend's house or when they invite me over. I'm particular about that. I don't know why that is. Maybe I need to get out of it, but I love, how I love taking pictures of food in places that I've gone to.
Mm-hmm.
So just know that about me, and that in the future, that when I come over, there will be posts of your pictures or
Photography
something.
is always welcome.
Okay,
man.
good.
I'm happy to do it. And none of my recipes are secret either. I will share pretty much anything I cook with anyone. With one exception, that's my chili that I make. There are some secret ingredients in there that I won't share,
Okay.
but
See,
you know,
okay,
but
all
that's
right.
just because I might have people out there listening that want to beat me in my company's chili cook-off next month, and I know who you are. You're not gonna get that secret ingredient.
I'm not even. I might have to. We might have to kind of like collaborate.
Talk off the
or
air,
so.
huh?
Yeah, exactly, off the air, because
Yeah.
I know that I'm not tooting my own horn, but I must say that my chili, was a hit at work.
Well, in the words of my younger self, come at me, bro. Let's do this.
See,
I'm
threats.
just kidding. It's not a
Idle
competition.
threats.
It's not a competition. But I mean, how good is chili? That's another one of
Well-
those things. You cook it slow. You cook it for a long time. The flavor is perfect. It's just, I love it. Maybe I should do that for the Super Bowl. Chili.
Interesting.
Maybe I should.
I don't know. You might have.
Might have some competition.
Yeah, maybe. I'm
welcome
just
it.
saying.
I welcome it.
I'm not saying.
This means more chili for me. So.
Mine might be gone.
Oh boy.
So.
See, now it's getting real.
Yeah.
now it's getting real. Now we're about to square off.
That's right. Hey, I already told you a few of my tricks.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for again for being here. I know you have much more input and everything because there's going to be I'm going to be talking about Jefe Urban Hacienda in a few minutes, but that's right up both of our alleys. I mean,
Right.
It's Mexican street food and,
Right.
and everything. I'm like,
Yep.
okay, and even more so now that you know about Alberto's and his cooking style here of everything Mexican, it seems.
It's my flavor of the month.
Exa-
It really is. It really is.
I'm quite sure. I'm looking forward to any type of comments and everything that you're gonna have on it.
Yeah.
So, my next topic I wanted to talk about, and as always, I always kind of keep my guests. I keep them sequestered for an hour. So I want to hear his opinions on certain things too. So, have you ever been interested in snout to tail or cooking? I mean, do you understand what that is?
Yep.
I know that you do.
Yep.
But
Rooter to the tutor. as I like to
yeah,
say.
exactly. A good example, and I think we talked about this before the show started. Handsome Hog. Handsome Hog is one that for me it's in St. Paul, and I know I keep going back to them, but literally they are a restaurant. The chef, the owners are concentrating specifically on snout to tail, and I bring that up because along with Handsome Hog, there is Surly Brewing Company, the Rabbit Hole Strip Club, and Tully. I've never been to Tully. Do you?
I have not either.
Okay.
No.
So there are three. Well, there's four on there that I haven't been to, and that's embarrassing. But that's only because
It's all right.
I know. Handsome Hog, though, yeah, I'm just gonna say that's my spot.
Yeah, I've heard good things, but I have not been.
Oh dang, dude! I think you would like it. They have a really great menu, and I'm just concentrating at the moment on the Handsome Hog. The others are just as great. I know that Jorge Guzman from Surly Brewing Company, he was at Ramen Attack. It's a yearly if you would, event that's put on by Zenbox Ramen.
Yep.
And it's for children. They always do the donations for children's cancer research.
Sure.
So it's something I feel I want to participate in and go to provide support. But that was the first time I was introduced to Jorge Guzman from Surly Brewing Company. I don't know what he did or put in this ramen or the ingredients. It was just people were literally lined up, and it was a thing to talk about. So the following year after that is when they had this event, and it's called, I heard it as the Prince of Pork.
Okay.
But it's really called and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so please forgive me. I'm not French. I have not taken French.
Oh, you'll be all right.
So Cochon 555. Cochon 555. It's in Minneapolis. Well, it's a 14-city tour, if you would, and it's a competition. So Minneapolis is going to be hosting theirs February 19th. It will be at Lowe's Hotel. But just to give you a little bit of information behind it, Cochon, it's French for pig, if you would, and it was created back in 2018, and it is more so, again, as I was mentioning, snout to tail competition. And the competition, it focuses mainly on providing support to local family members or family farmers, but also to educate chefs as well as diners on the use of agriculture and local livestock, if you would. And that was my point to you about utilizing old world livestock. And old world referring to the different countries like Africa, Europe, and Asia, the types of meats that were more familiar with European cultures. And so I was like, okay, well, he has that relationship with, your background of Italian cooking and so forth. So that, really helped. There was, again, doing some research. It's called the Colombian Exchange. And I'm not trying to give a food history here, but again, the research helped me understand where, that old world to the new world, the relationship came from. And so those different varieties of meats and so forth were introduced to the new world. New worlds being North, Central, and South Americas, all the Americas themselves. But the actual event, they're servicing mom and pops, farm to table, barbecue, any restaurant that is interested or has some type of skills and so forth that would like to enter, they have an opportunity for them to participate. So the chefs that the companies, I said, restaurants that I've mentioned before, each one of them have a chef that will be leading a team. I already mentioned Jorge Guzman for Surly Brewing Company, Thomas Kim from the Rabbit Hole, and you, I think you mentioned, or probably.
From Midtown Global Market.
Yes. And then JD Fransky, he's from the strip club. How was the strip club?
Phenomenal. It was very good.
I haven't gotten over there because I'm sorry.
Well, I don't want to give you any spoilers.
Yeah, well, it's not a matter of spoilers. It's like you can say it. That's why I have you on the show, so that you can have your own opinion and say.
It's true. I have an affinity for restaurants that source their ingredients locally.
Right.
Your food will taste better when you have ingredients that come from the area that you're in.
Okay.
I truly believe that. The biggest step I took in my cooking was starting to stopping buying ingredients from chain grocery stores. Not that there's anything wrong with chain grocery stores, but the meat that you buy at the grocery store, you may save $1 a pound, but the age of the meat is different than where you would get it locally. The animal may have come from somewhere 2,000 miles away. Whereas, shout out to Big Steer Meats on the east side. That's where I go to get my meats.
Is it a good place?
I love Big Steer.
Dang.
A friend of mine from college works there, and he always takes care of me when I go in there. I've been getting my meat from them pretty much exclusively for the last 2 years.
Okay.
Makes all the difference. I also have a local carniceria, Maurice's, on Nicollet, which is near where I live. That's Supermercado on Nicollet and 27th.
I know. I've seen it. I passed it by. Okay.
And I do know that they get a lot of their meat from local sources as well, and so I go in there a lot to get some of those cuts of meat that are hard to find at American butcher shops, like Arachera, Cecina, things like that.
Right.
But anyways, local vegetables too, whether it comes from your own garden, a local farmer. Minnesota is we're food rich, I like to say, because we have
took the words out of my mouth.
Right. We have so much agriculture in our state, and we have so many people that really care about sourcing things locally and responsibly raising plants, animals for food.
Right.
And farm to table is a huge thing here.
Exactly.
I can't talk about that enough. So restaurants that do that, their food tastes better, and that's why, in my opinion, the ingredients that you start with are going to make a better product, and it will always taste better. So those chefs, I love what those chefs are doing, because that's what sort of spills into homes and really makes change.
Exactly.
People get that at a restaurant. They want that experience at home. I will gladly pay an extra $1 a pound for meat to make my food taste that much more better.
Exactly. I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. And I only ask about the strip club because, as you know, the Un-Bougie foodie and shows here at WEQI are on a volunteer basis. So,
right.
You
no
know,
paid endorsements.
No, exactly. No paid endorsements or anything here. So it's like, we do things on, we do it because we love to do it. It's a passion that we have here at the radio station. And I've talked about this in the past, but I know for myself, I do have to make sure that the Un-Bougie foodie stays un-bougie.
Well, locally sourced restaurants that serve rustic food like that, I don't think anyone will call you bougie anytime soon.
No. And it's on the east side. That's that's the thing. And we're doing our utmost to concentrate on restaurants, foods on the east side. That's within your community. So I say this every time about a new restaurant, or not a new restaurant, but a restaurant that I have not gone to before. Strip club has been there, and I just thought, oh gosh, I'm never going to have opportunity to go. I'm just going to be real about this, folks. I'm never going to have the money to go. No, I will save the money if you have to. And sometimes treat yourself.
Exactly.
Treat yourself. And it doesn't have to be something very extensive and outlandish and over the top, but just go there and say, hey, I'd like to have a glass of wine, and hey, a good steak or some seafood or something like that. So
worth it.
That's all I'm really looking for anyway. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna have an 8-course meal. Like, I'll be broke.
Yeah, I'll be broke.
I'll be broke.
Think about what that does for your mood, though. When you have a good meal.
Well, exactly. But see, it doesn't. For me, it does not take a whole lot of plates. It takes one plate and maybe conversation, but really one plate. And not to say that's what I'm particularly judging that restaurant off of, or I'm not even judging, I don't like that word, trying to enjoy or have a food experience just off of that one plate. But sometimes you have to make sure that you stay in line, that your wallet allows.
Sure. Totally hear you.
There were two other restaurants and chefs that I wanted to make mention regarding the Cochon, which is Gray Nonas from Tolly, and then Justin Sutherland. Chef Justin, handsome hug. I know, really big shout out. I think they kind of know me sort of, because I'm like a stalker.
Are you really?
I am. I'm either there, I'm taking other people there, I'm talking about them on the show.
Right.
They're gonna be like, this dude, he's wacko.
They're gonna put you on the payroll before too long.
No, well, hey, then that might change into something else. Anyway,
right.
So just know that the Cochon is going to be taking place. Cochon 555 Minneapolis 2017 is going to be taking place here in our city. I just said that. But it really is going to be a place where the chefs are going to be able to demonstrate all of their culinary skills, because they want to have the opportunity to call themselves, well, in this case, the Prince of Porc. On the website it does say Princess or Prince of Porc.
That's cool. We don't judge. It's
but that's not what I meant. But I keep forgetting in this case that it's 14 different cities and so forth. So Minneapolis is just one place.
Sure.
Here they could go to another city and it might be a female chef that is handling business and chopping up the men, and really putting it to him and everything. So either way, Princess or Prince of Porc, whoever you shall be, we will be watching out for you. Cochon 555 Minneapolis 2017. That's February 19th. If you go to their website, you can certainly purchase tickets. There's a variety of different, either VIP or super VIP, which
That's the dream, right?
yeah, that's more like I'm in heaven, total heaven.
Yep.
Okay, the last thing, or not the last thing, but this is I went there yesterday, and I kid you not, I really was just in the neighborhood because I was going to a play at the Guthrie, and so I was thinking, okay, well, dang, I need to eat something before the rest of the day it finished out. And I ended up at Jefe Urban Hacienda, and I don't know why this coming so difficult for me to pronounce or whatever, but you say it.
Say what? The Jefe Urban Hacienda?
Oh, really?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You put me on the spot there.
Urban.
Right. Jefe Urban Hacienda.
Yes, thank you. They are located at 219 Main Street Southeast. That's Minneapolis. They are open Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. I got there at 4:05. It just so happened that I didn't even know what time they opened. I just said some place got to be open by 4 o'clock. So there were other restaurants that were there. I think there's Vic's, there's Tug's. I wasn't really feeling for a burger or for Vic's. I don't know if you've ever been to those.
I've been to every restaurant that's on St. Anthony, Maine. When I used to live downtown, I used to walk across Stone Arch and hang out down there. That was my haunt in college. That sounded really pretentious, but whatever. Let's go with it. So I'm not sure. I have not been here. Which space did it move into?
I do not know. Because I don't live over. I mean, I
It's
go
been a
visit
while
over
since
there
I've
and
been
everything.
there,
So it just so happened that again I was in the area, but I don't really know what
Sure.
other restaurant was there.
Well, I'm glad that they're keeping restaurants moving in there. I know Procna used to be there, and it had shut down and was going to reopen again, and I'm not sure what happened with that.
What type of place was that?
Procna was a oh boy, I don't want to sound too mean, but it was sort of a pretentious hipster bar that served some traditional American food, some sort of Eastern European food.
Okay.
But it was more of a drink spot than it was a restaurant, in my opinion.
Okay.
I know there was a lot of events there, but I didn't know Procna too well. I was more spent time at Astor Cafe and things like that. So
Astor's still there, so. But I'm glad Jefe took over in this space because, as we were talking about, Brad was mentioning before about just that Mexican street food and the flavors and the different types of meats and so forth. You really have to go there to really experience this place because I tell you, the different foods that they have available, well, the different types of meats and so forth, and the way that they're doing the preparation. Happy hour, you could get tacos for $3, and they're good size. You know how sometimes small street tacos can be smaller, but they still have that flavor and everything. These are good size, still have the flavor. There's nothing that they cut down on it at all. That's just one example, but then they have like tostadas and salsa, a salsa trio for $3. Another, I say, value, if you would, going to a restaurant, even if it is for just a happy hour, just to sit with friends, maybe have, a cocktail if you'd like, which I did.
No shame.
Yeah, none, but, I just got to throw it out there and let them know. I have pictures that I'm going to share, which, surprisingly, I didn't do that last night. I don't know what happened with my head, but I will make sure that they're available if you'd like to see those different foods or the items that I had partaked. Please make sure that you're visiting the Un-Bougie Foodie on Facebook. I will also make those available on Instagram, and you'll also be able to see them on Twitter too as well. So Instagram is _Un-Bougie Foodie. Twitter is at Un-Bougie Foodie. Please feel free to follow along on any social media. Please leave in any type of questions or comments. I love to hear from you. The show itself is for you. my experiences and everything I share with you, because I want you to have an opportunity to find out about new places that are in the area. But again, as I mentioned, it's for you. So if you have any places that you would like to suggest, please feel free to get in contact and share those, because you might have an opportunity like Brad here and being a host or a guest host and sharing some of those other experiences or places that you've gone to. But getting back to Jefe Urban Hacienda, I had I talk about oxtail. Have you had oxtail before?
I have.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you like it?
I love it.
Okay. So.
I love offal in general, and I love I'm one of those, I don't know if you would call me weird, but I love non-traditional style of meats,
exactly.
And organs and things like that.
Exactly. Also, chitlins.
Duh.
You're really black. I whispered.
No comment.
I had oxtail. Well, one of the tacos, number of the tacos that they have there, one of them is oxtail. And I tell you, I've gone to other restaurants that are serving oxtail. I've never had an oxtail taco before. So when I saw it on there, I'm going down the list and I'm like, what? Oxtail taco? Yeah, sorry, I'm in. That was the first thing that I ordered. And you could probably see that on the video that I shared live yesterday on the Un-Bougie foodie page. But this oxtail taco was oxtail, and you're going to correct me. I know you are, because no, I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying that, tajita or cotija. See,
it's like a saltier Parmesan cheese.
Exactly.
It has a Parmesan cheese flavor. It's a little more salty.
Cotija. And then it had radish.
Rajas. Which is
I know my Spanish.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. And then, of course, cilantro. Have you made rajas before?
I have made rajas before. I make rajas when I do a barbacoa, like a beef shoulder or a beef roast that I cook in adobo. Shocking. Type of thing. I like that cream. I usually use some of the juice from the meat in there with the cream and the roasted poblanos. It's
make
really
it creamier and everything,
and
more smooth.
And I use that Salvadoran crema, which is a little saltier than just regular sour cream, a little less tart. It's just a milder flavor. I don't necessarily need a bunch of tartness when I have the hot peppers in there
and everything. That. Yeah. That's good to know. The next is, carnitas. Again, for me, it's always a staple. I figure that if it is a place that is really serving true Mexican food, carnitas is like a staple.
It's the benchmark. Carnitas should be something that any Mexican restaurant that really truly serves good, authentic food can do really well.
See, I'm glad you said that rather than me, because I think I probably said it maybe in not such a fantastic way. But really, I think of it that I'm going to any Mexican restaurant or establishment, and the first thing I'm having is a carnitas. And that for me is going to set the rest of the tone for whatever food that I'm going or whatever other meats that I'm going to have from that restaurant.
I agree 100%.
And I don't think it's being snobbish about that. It was just
not at all.
I know that kind of know the process on doing carnitas, and if it's too dry or if it's too crispy or something like that.
That's my biggest pet peeve. I hate just soupy carnitas.
No,
I don't understand it.
No. That kind of might set the tone for me, and I'm like, okay, I've had this. I'm good.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't want anything else.
Yep.
But no, this was one that I will have again and again, and definitely have oxtail again. The last one that I was also with two other friends, but they had, and I had an opportunity to taste it. It was ropa vieja, and that was flank steak. Did I say that right?
You did.
Good. Flank steak, braised with onions, olives, capers, peppers, and radish and cilantro. someone in my group had 2 orders of those.
I don't blame them.
Because but I tasted it, and it, what the flavors of all of those, again, the olives and the capers right there, that there's that extra saltiness, sour, the mixture that they use, it really brought out the meat. The meat was tender, and I would really love to know, like you said, how long they probably cooked it. It probably was over a period of 5-6 hours or more, or something like that.
Probably marinated for a long time and then quickly braised.
You think?
Yes, yeah.
Because it was amazingly good. It really was, and I'm not a connoisseur on Mexican food, but I think my taste, because I've had it for so many years and living in Los Angeles, so you could speak on that. I can't speak highly of those 3. There are so many different other items that are on that menu as well. They even have a brunch menu as well, so you have that opportunity to go to to brunch. I'm looking at Eggs Benedict. I like the one that they have. Gringo breakfast. It's 2 eggs, however you like, hash browns with toast and a choice of bacon or avocado. So there's so many different other items on there. What I was surprised at yesterday, which I had also, I mentioned this was kind of like, being in Los Angeles and the fruit trucks.
Yep.
Where they're having the chili powder and salt and everything in a little plastic bag, whatever. You see them with fresh fruit, mangoes, oranges, papaya, just
honeydews.
Oh my
oranges,
gosh!
Yep.
And you go up to them and ask. They ask you, what would you like? And they start to cut them up and everything. And man.
Yep.
I'm beyond words.
That's a favorite of my wife. Every time we go to Maurice's, they usually sell it by the counter. She loves that chili lime flavor.
Yes.
Trader Joe's actually sells that spice,
right?
That you can buy it. I think it's online. You might find it in stores, but you can just sprinkle that on your fruit. It's the same flavor. It's really good.
It's bomb, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, we live over in we're in the east side and everything. There are so many different Latin and Mexican restaurants that are over here that offer different versions of that, but I gotta admit that I was surprised that I've never seen it on a menu.
Yeah, that's surprising.
And although it was watermelon, honeydew, pineapple, jicama, and what was the last one? Oh gosh, I remember.
Probably mango. I would
no,
think.
It wasn't mango.
Oh, guava
No, dang it, I forgot. It was the 2 different types of melons. Well, 3 different types of cantaloupe. There you go. Sure. I'm sorry. And with lime, and then I ate that like. Yep. It was dessert.
And that truly is street food. I'm surprised to hear that it's there, because that's really what it is.
And on my Facebook page, I'm sorry, I keep referring back to it because I was like, who has this on their menu? Like, right. I don't know anybody in any restaurant here that has it on the menu.
You can find it on the weekends on Payne or Arcade or at the elote stand or something like that.
But not at an actual restaurant. So I was like, but it's called Fruta con Limon. So if you like fruit and you like that spicy and all the different flavors and tropical flavors and everything that blend, you will love this. Just so you know. Oh my gosh! Wow! Look at the time.
Yeah, I kind of want to go there for lunch now.
Hey, I'm up. Anyway, I really want to thank you so much for being here. You have really brought a lot of punch to my show, so thank you so much.
I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for having me. This was great.
This week, I should have started at the beginning, at the top of the hour, and to apologize. I know that we said that we were going to talk about Facao, Allow Pop-Up, and I was going to have another guest, Shannon Tui. Next week, we will have Shannon Tui, and I'll also have a special guest to join myself and Shannon to talk more about that. But as we come to the end of the show, again, I want to thank Brad for being here and providing insight on other things and so forth.
Anytime. Have me back soon.
Yeah, you better know that you're going to be coming back.
Perfect.
Gotta know that you got to be coming back. Thank you all so much for joining us once again on the Un-Bougie Foodie for a Saturday morning. Tune in to next week. Again, we're going to be talking about, and trust me, we will be talking about Facao, because we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of flavors and a lot of different items from just that sitting. I'm still excited, and that happened last week, and I was supposed to be talking about it this week. But yeah, trust me, you will enjoy my guests that are going to be here. That'll be talking, about that a whole lot more. So make sure that you're tuning in to WEQY 104.7, the voice of the East Side, every Saturday at 10 a.m. to listen to my show. And as I end, as always, let me remind you and encourage you, never let anyone tell you what type of foodie to be, because really, it is all about the food.